Hey, it's Cobra here at MaddenGuides.com. And for my very first Madden 21 tips video breakdown, I want to show you a new feature that's been added to the game this year that's pretty effective as far as on the defensive side of the ball. It's taken a lot of different money plays, or I don't want to say money plays, but high percentage plays that are found in the game. And these are things that you'll be able, or at least an adjustment you'll be able to do to take away a lot of that type of stuff out of the game so you don't have to worry about it. Now, what I want to do is we're going to go ahead and get on the field first. So for now, I'm going to use the Cowboys playbook on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to come out in a $3-2-6 cover 2 drop. And on the offensive side of the ball, I'll be using the Eagles playbook. And the name of the play that I'll be using on this one is the gun tight slots Y mesh. So let's go ahead, gun tight slots mesh. So let's go ahead and take a look at it on the field there. And as you know, the mesh concept has the two inside receivers running shallow crossing routes. And a lot of times they'll be wide open as they come across because the linebackers drop a little bit further back than maybe what we want. So let's just go ahead and run the play here. And you'll see that those guys get open and we're able to complete that pass, which is typical, unless you control one of the linebackers underneath and try to take that away. So let's go ahead and go into instant replay here and just take a look at it. I just want to show this to you real quick. So for example, as you watch, you can see, let's see if we can zoom in here. I'm not using the Telestrator for this. On the PC version, it's a little bit harder to do. And I just really wanted to get this video out. Once I get the Xbox version of the game, I'll be able to do a little bit more as far as with the Telestrator. But at any rate, if you look at it, you can see that those two receivers are crossing underneath. And if you look at the linebackers, they're dropping pretty far back, allowing these guys to get open where I can't really make this throw. Now, granted, one of those linebackers really dropping back. That's just because it's, I think it's Tampa 2, whatever it may be. He drops further back than what we want him to do. But at any rate, regardless, they're still going to be open where you can make that throw. Okay, so let's go out of his whole thing here, and let's get out of the whole formation for a sec. Let's go down to coaching adjustments. Now, this has been added to the game this year, and a lot of you guys have probably already heard of this if you follow along with the Madden, if you're into the whole hype of it each year and checking out all the new strategies and all the new stuff or gameplay additions that are added to the game. And what's been added this year is what they call zone drops. And if you look at it, we have zone drops flats, we have zone drops curl flats, and we also have zone drops hooks. So that's 3 different zone coverages. Now, this puts it all in there. So all the hook zones, this all covers all the hook zones. This covers all the curl flats, regardless of what it might be. And this covers all the flats. So rather be a hard flat, soft flat, whatever, it covers all the flats. So they're going to do, regardless of what flat coverage it is, they're going to do what you set it to. In this case, we're going to go back down to hook zones. And with this particular play that we're running, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and put it for 5 yards. So now these linebackers, rather than dropping 10 yards back or whatever they just did, or 7-10 yards, they're only going to drop 5 yards. So they're going to be in a little better position to defend those shallow crossing routes that you're seeing out of the mesh concept. You can also set it for 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and I think that's it on there. Yeah, so it goes all the way to 30. Also, if you look at the text just below this, it says during pre-play, return zone drops to default by using the reset button. Now, this is important. Or audible the sticks coverage adjustment. Use the sticks coverage auto adjustment. So if you want to reset the defense, and if you reset the defense or use the audible for the sticks coverage adjustment, then whatever you had it set at, say for example, I had it set at 5 yards here, it automatically defaults back to the default, which is whatever the normal coverage would be. So anytime that you want to reset this when you come on the field, you can do that while you're on the field by resetting the defense or using the sticks audible, and then it'll reset them back to the default coverages. So keep that in mind. All right, so let's go ahead and get on the field here and come back in that exact same formation that I was just in. Again, it's the cover 2 drop against this mesh. And I want you guys to watch as I run this you will see that the underneath receivers are a lot better covered than what we just had. It's a lot harder to make that throw in there. I mean, he's right on there. And it's a lot harder for them to get that. A lot of times you may get a pick. Now, if you want, you can go back in here again. Let's go back in this replay because I want to show you the difference there, what you just saw. And even though he did make the catch, the coverage is way, way tighter, and it's a lot harder to make. You may be able to get a pick on this a lot easier than what you had before. See how they're dropping back right now? They're all in there. There's no way. It's a really difficult throw to make that throw in there, split that way. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but it certainly makes it harder. If you look at that one linebacker that dropped way back, now he did it. Now, the one difference is, because of this, if you look at the receiver that's behind the linebacker on your screen here, if we go over here and just kind of go this direction here, that guy's a lot more open now. So even though you've just taken away the underneath stuff, now that deeper route's a little bit open. Now what you're hoping is maybe your opponent doesn't see that, and that he doesn't make that throw. Now you could always user and take control of that linebacker, this one right here, and drop him back yourself and manually defend that if you wanted to. So that's another option there with that. Okay, so let's go back in here again and run it again. Same play. And this time I'm going to go ahead and reset the defense this time. So I went ahead and reset the defense. So right there, you can see right there, you just hit the hit your audible button. And in this case, I'm going to hit the L2 or LT button, or if you're playing on the PlayStation, be L2. And that's going to go ahead and reset. Now we're going to run the same play again. Now again, watch the linebackers as they drop. A lot different as far as how the coverage is versus what I just had initially. Remember, they were a lot tighter. Now they're not. So let's go back. And one last thing I want to show. Now, when I get the Xbox version, because that's what I get, the Xbox. When I get the Xbox, I'll get a lot more in depth with this, especially with the Telestrator. I'll get a little bit more in depth with this as far as the breakdown goes. I feel a little bit weird not using the Telestrator, so I'm really used to using it. But at any rate, right here, you can see the mesh concept again that I'm using. You can also see I set the zone drop hooks to 0 this time. Let's see what happens with that with the same defense I've been running, which again is out of the $326 to cover 2 drop. So we're going to go ahead and run that. And again, you can see right there, there's the defense. Let's go ahead and run it. Now, see how far. The way this should work is these linebackers should really almost come up to the line of scrimmage, literally, or they shouldn't even drop at all. It should be really, really. See how far they come up that time? And there's a pick. And that's because, honestly, that was hard to even see him being there. I thought I could get that over the top, but I wasn't able to. But at any rate, that guy jumped the route. And so, as a quarterback and you're dropping back, you don't expect that to happen, where these linebackers come up there like that, and all of a sudden, or even linebackers, safeties, or defensive backs, whoever it might be. Let's take a look at this one. So anyways, this is a really cool feature that in my opinion, yeah, he's right over it. Only way I could have got that was probably threw it over try to throw it high, maybe would have got it. But look how the defensive back is just sitting there underneath, not dropping like he normally would do. So this is a game changer. This type of stuff is the kind of stuff that I can remember when I used to do the official strategy guides that I wrote, and I would sit and break the game down. And even when I worked for VG Sports, I would sit and break the game down like crazy over the summertime and know all the ins and outs. And this is the kind of stuff that got me really into the whole Madden strategy thing, as far as breaking stuff down, was finding this cool stuff in the game that they were adding. This is one of those great additions that honestly should have been in the game 10 years ago. But at any rate, whoever came up with this idea at EA did a great job, because now it's going to be a game changer as far as how the game is played. Now, if you look deep, I could have because I'm anticipating that guy's always going to be open, just because that's not this guy here, but the two guys underneath. But really, honestly, I should have been looking for him. But the cool thing is, if you were to reset that, so this is the cat and mouse part of the game, which makes this really cool. Let's go back in here real quick here. So let's go back in that same play I've been running. The cat and mouse of this is, I always expect, and I'm sure you guys do too. Oh, forgot we got an interception. Let's go ahead and kick this back over. Let's go ahead and kick this back to the offense here. to the Eagles. I want the Eagles to do this. Unfortunately, you can't do this in what am I trying to say to you? You can't do this in practice mode. You have to do it in kind of a game mode. Now, one of the things, speaking of that, one of the things I do if I do come into regular game mode and do this, I used to do this a lot when I was breaking down this stuff. Rather than go into practice mode, I almost always went into the regular game and played the exposition game. And what I would do is I would turn off the clock and turn off all that stuff, the play clock and all that, because this allowed me to see more things while I was on the field. So this is a good example. Whenever I used to lab a lot, this is how I would do it. So let's go back in here again and go back in that same play that we've been running with the Eagles playbook, which is out of that tight slots. And again, it's called that mesh, the mesh concept. So let's go back into there. And I'm not going to change anything as far as the settings go. Remember, I have it set to 0 right now, right? And now those linebackers came up real close, or the defensive backs and the linebackers came up real close. All right, so we're back in the same formation that we were just in. But this time I'm going to go ahead and reset it. And we got it right here. And then this time you'll watch those guys drop further back again. Well, I guess I didn't hit the reset button. Again, it got picked off. The same thing that just happened. We got another pick off again because those defensive guys did. I didn't hit the reset button like I thought I did. That's all right, though. Keep going. I'll keep rambling on to you. Let's see if I can get the goal here. This is a little bit different than what I normally do, again, as far as the format that I do the breakdowns. I'm totally just with this. But at any rate, nice kick. But anyway, let's keep going on with this right here. And just go ahead and kick it back one more time. So back to what I was just talking about as far as with the labbing. If you're going to want to lab and you want to see how things work in regular game mode, I suggest going in there, turning off the play clock, and that'll allow you to have as much time. And set it for 15 minutes for each quarter, and that'll give you as much time as you need to be able to lab and actually see how things are doing. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, a lot of the videos moving forward, probably how I should go back to the old way I used to do things. I know a lot of you guys who followed me over the years, you know that's kind of how I used to do it. But that's certainly something I should go back to. All right, let's go back in here one more time and set this where we actually reset the defense here. So I'm going to go ahead and reset the defense. Now this time they should drop back here. There we go. They drop back. And again, because I reset the defense, they drop back and they're not sitting on it. So at any rate, as you can see, with this particular new thing that's been added to the game, with the coverage adjustments that have been added, it's really going to change things up as far as how things are working. And honestly, I cannot wait to dive more into this. And again, once I get the Xbox version, I'll definitely get more breakdowns with this stuff and do some more crazy stuff for you guys. So anyways, I know this is a long video, very winded video. It's just that I really wanted to get this out right off the bat so you guys can see it and get a chance to look at it as soon as you guys get the game, if you not already have the game. So again, this is Cobra here at MaddenGuides.com.